Hi y'all, this is Regina from Regina's Crafting and More, or Carry On the Stitching, depending on where you are. I have created an alternate version of my mug rug that there's several on my Etsy site. It does the quilting over the entire mug rug, and I've created a version that does the quilting in the center, doesn't touch the side panels, and I've created a version that does the center and then gives you the option to change the color of the threads that you use for the side panels. I should say thread, or not to stitch it at all. So let me get started. All right, so I don't know how much of this you can see, but here's the mug rug. So the center of it, when it does the decorative stitching, aka the quilting, is done in one color, and then it changes to another color stop to do these two side panels right here. So you can see, probably maybe not, that this is pink and that this is blue, and that these side panels are different color stop. They come right after this color stop that does the quilting. So let me get started. All right, so the first color stop on these mug rugs is a placement stitch, and I'm going to change, I'm going to leave this thread so you can see. All right, so it stitches a rectangle for you. It's more of a reminder, if you're going to use a large piece of batting like I am, you don't need it as long as you cover the whole area. But if you've got a smaller piece of batting that you want to use up scraps, then this would be a good judge for you. You just need to make sure you cover this line. Okay. So I'm using the no-show stabilizer on here. That's why I'm using the T-pins, because it's kind of thin and I don't want any shifting. So I do it just like I do the wash away stabilizer. I use the T-pins or the shelf liner method. All right, so I'm going to lay my batting on here and just cover the entire inside of my hoop. And I'm going to stitch color stop number 2. It'll tack down your batting. And if you want to put some craft fuse or something like that in here with the batting, you can. It'll kind of give your mug rug a little more stability, and I guess, you know, something to help soak up any moisture. You're going to have the batting and a couple of layers of fabric on the top, and then you're going to have a couple of layers on the fabric on the back for the backing. So you'll have plenty, but you know, just depends on what you like. All right. So I'm going to trim this down because we only have to have what's inside the line. All right, put this aside for another project. All right, so color stop number 3 is going to stitch a placement line for your centerpiece. Now, in the directions that I'll provide you with, it gives you the sizes of all your fabric that you need. All right, so I have a piece of fabric for my centerpiece. It's 6.5 by 5.5, I think, is what the measurement is, but check the directions that I provide you with. And while I'm here, I can measure this batting. So let's see here. We want it to stick out a little bit on both sides. So turn this around this way. So let's say batting, you're going to need about 5.5 inches this way, and that's 6. Say that's 7. Say 8 inches of batting, 5.5 by 8, something like that. All right, so I'm going to lay my fabric down. Now this is a piece of fabric that already had some interfacing on it, and it was a scrap, so I'm just going to use it. And I put a crease in each of the ends so I can center it. My center is right there, so I think that'll be good. You just need to make sure that it's covering the line. Let me put a crease this way too. There and there. All right, so there's the center there. I can see. There's the center there. All right, so now color stock number 4 is going to tack this down. And you're going to have a little bit of fabric sticking out over the edge. That's not going to hurt anything. I may have turned that the wrong way, but oh dear. Please be okay on that side. Okay, that's good. I think I turned my fabric the wrong way. Usually there's more, and I can see I've got more here. Okay. So, color stop number 5 is a placement line for your side panel fabric. In actuality, once you get used to the way that this mug rug stitches, and I have quite a few that are this way, all of these, I have an A version, a B version, and a C version. This is the C version. So it actually stitches, as you can see, right along the edge of this stitch that stitched your center panel. All right, so I'm going to lay my side panel down, pretty side down, and it's going to butt up and center right here along this stitch line. Okay, so that's where the placement stitch was. Alright, so I'm just making sure that I've got plenty of fabric on the outside, and you don't want to go over that line. And color stop number 6 is going to sew a 1/4 inch seam. It's going to tack it down. It's going to sew 3 times. I think I'm going to have to go in. I'm going to go in and change that so it just does a triple stitch instead of actually stitching the line 3 times. All right, so after it tacks that down, it's going to go over. The next color stop is pink, just like the color stop for this line, which was to create this seam. So it's going to stitch a placement line for your side panel to butt up against. So it goes a little on the outside, which helps you make sure that it's aligned properly. So we're going to take the pretty side, put it down, and if you have to move the hoop off for a little bit so you can see, we're going to butt it up right up against that line. Alright, and I can tell it's pretty well centered on here, and looking there, it's good there. And color stop number 8 is going to tack that down. I would hold this fabric in place till this first line gets stitched. Okay. So now we need our fabric folding pin. If you don't have one, this is a Clover fabric folding pin, and I have a link to it in the directions. So you're going to squeeze, whoops, let's take this off. You're going to squeeze a little bit of the liquid into the spongy thing on the end. And you're going to go down both of the seam lines. Okay. And now you're going to fold your fabric over and use your nail or whatever implement you want to get that seam line down. Okay, fold this over, push it over good, and use your nail or whatever you want to get that seam line down. Right, put your hoop back on. This next color stop is going to tack these edges down so we don't have to worry about them getting turned over during any of the quilting or anything. And it's just going to go all the way around, and I'm going to hold it like this. I don't want this little edge getting flipped up. This little skewer is great. A friend gave them to me. And I'm just making sure that that fabric's down good. I don't want it to have any wrinkles in it. Don't want it to get flipped over. Ooh, oh, that almost did. Smooth your fabric out of the way. All right. So color stop number 10 is going to do the quilting for the center part of your mug rug, the decorative stitch, aka quilting. All right, so I'm going to turn this around. Hopefully you can see this little box right here. There is a blank in it. The hearts are around it, and there is blank. The blank is for the gnome. All right, so I'm going to change my thread color because the color I have in here was a pink that hopefully will be visible whenever you watch the video. And I'm going to put in a lighter pink. And the reason I'm going to put in a lighter pink is because that decorative fill that Baby Luck has started, and we can now create our own. It creates its own path. We put in a single line and it creates its own path, and it may stitch over it 2 or 3 times. So as it does, your fabric line, where'd that go? There it is. It'll get darker. And I don't want this really dark because I want my gnome and the wording to stand out, be the focal point instead of the quilting. But I do want the quilting on it to give it some extra dimension. All right. Let me trim this thread so it doesn't get caught up. All right, so I'm going to let this stitch a little bit more, and then I'm going to come back so you can see what it's done. And maybe you'll be able to see it here in just a minute. I don't recall the stitching path. Okay, it is. All right, so it's actually created some of the path for the gnome right there, but it's going to do the heart. So I will come back in just a minute so you can see that. Hopefully you can see this quilting on here already, and it's already creating the shape of the gnome. So the reason I do that is because I purchased a design from someone else that had, this was before I learned to create the decorative fills, or had the ability to create them. And the fill, the quilting behind the design shadowed through to my embroidery design, which was a little disappointing to say the least. So I cut this out, and I don't put any quilting behind my embroidery design. So far there are no cuts in this quilting or decorative fill. There's no thread cuts. It's been a continuous quilting. So that's a good thing. Less threads for you to have to cut off the back. Alright, so the the decorative fill on the center part is done. Let me take that out so that you can see that. Back up a little bit. Alright, there you go. So it's left the blank spot here for the gnome to be embroidered, and then it'll do the text right over here. And I don't think that'll be impacted at all. So let me get started on getting the gnome embroidered. Oh no, sorry. So that was color stop 12 that did this. Color stop 11 is to quilt these side panels. So I don't really want pink hearts on the side panels, so I'm going to change to a red. Alright, so I have put red in my top thread, and I'm going to let it quilt the hearts on the side panels in the red. It'll be there, and it'll sort of be able to be seen, but it won't be in your face pink hearts on the red. It'll be a little bit of kind of a trapunto look, if I guess you will, because these have a little puff to them. It won't be real super obvious. Alright, hold on, I forgot to put my cover. Oops, sorry. Alright, so we are just about finished with the side panel, and each of the hearts has some texture to it. You can barely see the outline of the hearts because I've used red. I didn't want to detract from my red fabric, but I did want to put some quilting on it, so that's why I went ahead and did the red hearts. Now it's going to jump over here, and I can see those hearts, and yeah, they have a little hint of a trapunto type stitch. And I'll be back. Alright, so it's finished doing the hearts, and hopefully you can see them. I don't know, but there are hearts in here, and the hearts are kind of puffed up a little bit because of the batting, and there's hearts over here. So this is the basic mug rug for the C version. It quilts here and then gives you the opportunity to change your thread color here. Otherwise it would be stitching all the way across like this, and you wouldn't be able to do what I just did by changing the thread color and quilting the side panels. So I'm giving you that option. Alright, so let me finish embroidering the gnome, and I will be back. Alright, I thought I'd show you where I am so far in finishing the gnome. It's doing his bow, it's done his feet, and then his pants, his beard, which is silver, the pink stripes, and then it's did the gray stripes, did the pink ball back here and then the pink bows that it's doing right now. There'll be another bow right here, and it's in pink also. You could change the color to a red or a purple or whatever. You could have two different colored bows. These are just the colors that I picked out. I like pink and red. Guess you couldn't tell. So it has to come down here and stitch a little envelope that has hearts in it, and I'll be back. Alright, so we're getting pretty close to being finished with the Gnome Mug Rug, Gnome You Are My Heart mug rug, and it's just finishing up on the text, and then we just have to put the two pieces on top so that we can turn it inside out and have the back and the front and everything done. So I'm going to let this text finish stitching, and I will be back. Alright, so the design, the actual embroidery design for the center has finished stitching. And let's see if I can get, there it is. Whoops. So You Are My Heart, and little gnome has all kinds of hearts in his little envelope, or hers, and that is the top of the mug rug. So now we're going to finish the mug rug. I'm going to change my thread. Oops, you see my mess down here because I can't stand up and keep getting thread changes. I just stack everything up here until I'm completely done. Alright, so now we need to put on our back pieces. So I've got two pieces. I think they're 9.5 by 5.5 or 5 3/4. I've 9.5 by 5 3/4. I've folded it in half. Okay, I'm going to put one piece overlapping my center mark. Okay, just barely overlapping. I want to make sure that it's past the stitch marks for the original mug rug. Okay, so I've got that down. Then I'm going to take my other half. The folded edge is towards the inside. I'm going to take my other half and hold that down, stick it up under my needle, and it overlaps. I'm going to line it up top and bottom, and I'm going to put some tape on those folded edges so I don't have to worry about it getting caught, getting my needle caught up on those folded edges. So this is that 3M micropore paper tape. You can get it on Amazon, like 12 rolls for not very much, and trust me, it is the same thing that Kimberbell sends you. Alright, so I'm actually sticking the tape on the inside part of my hoop. Alright, and I'm going to change my thread color. Just a minute. Alright, so this is color stop number 26. I had a little foobar with my bobbin thread. Something got caught up in one of the tails on the back, so make sure you trim your tails before you do your back piece. So I'm going to secure this. I had to do a little trimming, and I'm going to try this again. Yeah, make sure all your tails are trimmed back before you put these two back pieces on. Trim all those tails that might be in the way. Luckily, I was sitting here at the machine and was able to catch that and stop it before it got too far and got to be a real big mess. this is, like I said, the You Are My Heart Gnome Mug Rug for Valentine's. And this is the last stitch to secure all these pieces together. Alright, so all the pieces are stitched down. I'm going to peel off this paper tape. Just kind of roll it up in a little ball and stick it in my, get rid of the thread tails box that I have here. I have a little container that I throw all my thread tails in. Okay. Use your tweezers, pull up that paper tape, and it just tears right off. Okay. So that's the inside of your mug rug right here. Now, like I said, go through and before you put the back on, and trim up these tails along the edges. It'll just kind of help you not get anything hung up in them. I didn't do that before I did it, and I think that's what happened, is that it got, now since I've got white on for my back pieces, I'm just using scraps I had, and that was something that I came across that I liked the design, so I'm just trimming up some of the tails that might show through that white. I know it's the back, but still. Okay. Alright, so I've taken it out of the hoop and I've trimmed 3 sides so far, 1/4 of an inch away from my final stitch line, which is the line on the inside. Remember, we stitched this one, and then this one is the triple stitch. So I put my ruler on here right at that last stitch line, and I trimmed. See, I've already gone around the other edges. Alright, so I trimmed 1/4 of an inch on all the sides. Now you want to round your corners. Alright, I trimmed and rounded my corners. Now I got to turn it inside out. Alright, so now I just need to press it and finish pushing out this bottom edge, and I'll be done.